Hey guys, what's going on? It's Kyle here, and today, I've been getting a few questions on my videos about suggestions for people who just started Hearthstone. They're having lots of troubles winning games, and I had this problem at first too. I still have this problem. I've been playing for about 3 weeks now, probably at least 20 to 30 hours invested in game because I spend a lot of time playing Hearthstone. And I am by no means a master, as you will see in this gameplay. I do win, but I make some mistakes. And I'm also ranked 24, as you can see. So no, I am not a master. I haven't done much league play, which is really the hard stuff. I've done a lot of arena. So without further ado, let's get down to it. Some tips here that will help you win games and not make stupid decisions, which is usually the reason why newer players lose games. Even though it seems like you're playing well, you might seem like, oh, I'm doing well, and then all of a sudden you lose. It's because, for one, you use your cards too fast, but we'll get into that really quick here. So first thing I want to go over is deck building and control. So even if you use your cards wisely, if you don't have the deck, if you have a bad deck, you're not going to win any games. So I would definitely suggest going on YouTube or Google, and for whatever kind of class you want to play, search a deck build for that. That's usually the best way to get a good deck starting off. You'll probably have to unlock all the cards for that at first, but that's pretty easy. And you can get a nice powerful deck so that you have the most opportunity to learn the game without suffering consequences from not a very good deck. So along with this, just some basic tips for deck building. When you do build a deck, you want to get an even mana curve. You can see this in the bottom. It should be like a lava looking like glowy bars. And basically the mana curve represents how much each card costs, how much mana it costs. And you can just see when you'll be able to play it in game and how much of each you have based off these bars. So a common strategy is to have lots of 2 and 3 drops, which means 2 and 3 cost minions, because you'll want to establish board control early on, which brings me back to control. Control is really important in Hearthstone. It's actually one of the most important things. Actually, probably the most important thing, controlling the deck. Okay, so yeah, we went over lots of low cost, 2 and 3, because at the beginning of the game, you'll want lots of 2 and 3 costs to be able to control the deck, and then towards the end of the game, you'll have a bunch of cheaper minions that you can play along with your bigger minions. You'll want some bigger minions because you want to be able to do lots of damage to somebody in one turn, because usually it comes down to one turn if you win or lose. But also, beginning game is really important. I can't express how much it is important to establish board control. Alright, so now you've got a decent deck, you know that you should establish board control, but there's other things that play into controlling the deck too. It's using your cards wisely. Card management is one of the biggest mistakes you see newer players make, not complete new players, but it's controlling the deck with premium cards. So early on, say you have a 2-3 out and a 3-4. So this guy plays, for example, a 3 health minion. Now, you might have to sacrifice one of your cards to kill it, plus do a little bit of damage to your other card. But if you have options other than using cards, which I call premium removal, which for example would be Snipe or Flame Strike if you're a mage, cards that do a lot of damage to a lot of minions or a lot of damage to one minion that you'll need later on in game, because if you burn these really quick, really fast in game, if you waste them even though you can do other things, you're gonna have troubles killing off bigger cards at in game, and you'll probably end up losing unless you have a really good rush deck. Which also brings me to fair trade. If you have board control and say you have 3 cards on the board and the dude plays a 4-5 and they just aren't cutting it to be able to kill it, you would have to sacrifice all 3 cards to kill it. Now, this is when it comes to good choices of trading cards and not good choices of trading cards. So although you want to keep your premium removal as long as you can in order to get rid of high minions, if it's between that and making a stupid decision, then just use it, because it's better to maintain board control and use a premium removal to kill whatever big creature he has than to sacrifice all 3 of your creatures just to kill off one, and next turn he'll probably play an even bigger creature and you'll be screwed. So Sometimes it is good to burn your premium removal, usually not beginning game, sometimes mid game you do, but usually they're best to save for late game. But fair trades again, don't trade 2 cards for 1 if you can avoid it, because that will end up giving you a card disadvantage. And as you can see in this game, look, I have 2 cards right here, and he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So again, this gameplay in the background isn't the perfect example for this, because this is a control deck. So I'm playing it how it's meant to be played, but I messed up with that rhino. Yeah, well, that was a mistake. So yeah, I still make a lot of mistakes. It happens when you play, especially when you're rushing, which is another tip. When you're playing this game, you need to slow down, you need to think, you have plenty of time. There's no reason to get all excited and be like, oh, I just did something awesome, and then rush out a bunch of cards, and for example, waste the charge you have on your Tundra Rhino. I could have done an extra 2 damage there, which makes a difference towards the end of the game. Another thing is, while you're playing the game, you need to constantly be thinking, what am I going to do next turn? What am I going to do turn 7? You need to have a strategy planned out in your head, because otherwise you'll end up, again, wasting your cards before their optimal use, which sometimes you have to do. Like that Houndmaster right there, it summons a card for each enemy he has on the board, so I could have saved both of them and waited till he had a bunch of cards out on the deck and just flooded the board with those 1/1s. But I needed to remove those cards to maintain board control, so that's what I did. Although I had to use a card maybe not necessarily at its best possible time to use, I still had another one, and I figured it was the best way to maintain board control, which again, it's the biggest tip, guys. It's mostly what this video is about, is tips on maintaining board control, which is how you win games. Another really big important tip is know cards and classes. I'm still working on this myself because it takes a lot of time, but you can go on Google or you can just play the game, and you simply need to memorize the classes, their abilities, and cards they have. For example, Priest has 2 cards. I can't even remember the exact name, but it doesn't matter. They're Shadow something. One of them can kill anything with 3 or below attack, and one of them can kill anything with 7 and above attack. So, for example, if I was playing a Priest and I had a Forest Giant or a Hill Giant in my deck, and it does 8 attack, and I was playing a Priest, and I also had this Savannah Highmane in my deck. The Savannah Highmane is between 3 and 7, so although it does a little bit less damage, it's a good card overall, and I would play it because there wouldn't be me dicing around with the fact that he could have the card that could one-hit that card in his hand. So knowing the other classes you're playing, knowing the other cards they have, is a really important way, and once you get decently good at the game, that's what it comes down to when you win or lose. If you know the cards that this guy's going to have, because there's a limited amount of cards that Priests or Paladins or each class has, so if you memorize them, you're set. You'll be able to strategize around what they have, even if they don't necessarily have that, and it's just good planning, and it will win you games in the end. So it does take a lot of time, but just look around on Google, watch videos, live streams, just learn decks, memorize cards, and classes. Alright guys, so I was trying to keep this video under 10 minutes, which it looks like I'm going to manage. I will give you guys some more tips in later videos. If you guys have any suggestions for tips, if you already know how to play the game, feel free to leave them in the comments, because again, I am still a newer player. I don't know everything at all. I'm only a decent player, I would say, at best. So I just wanted to give some tips to help out brand new players with stupid mistakes that I made the first week I was playing, and I would hardly ever win games, and it was really frustrating. So if you are a new player, I hope this helped you out. I hope you'll get better at the game and enjoy it, because it's an awesome game. I thank you for watching. If you want to see more guides or Hearthstone related content, make sure you throw this video a like, because that's how I gauge which videos I want to do next. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do check it out, Colossus Gaming. I'll see you guys all next time. Thank you and goodbye.